Fleet Admiral Crics stood on the bridge of his command ship, gazing at the stars beyond the massive window. His arms crossed behind his back as he reviewed the tactical information. The Zepherian war fleet stretched before him like a cloud of deadly insects. 200 ships, each capable of destroying entire worlds. The Admiral's scaled skin gleamed under the bright lights. His yellow eyes held the look of a warrior who had never tasted defeat. Over 30 years, he had brought 50 worlds under Zepherian control. Humans would be number 51. A soft alarm rang through the bridge. Communications Officer Vexry turned toward him, her head tentacles shaking slightly with worry. "Sir, we have a priority message from the Vorak Coalition," she said. Cricks's expression darkened. The Vorak were ancient beings who claimed to have observed the galaxy for thousands of years. They rarely spoke to anyone, and when they did, people usually did not like what they heard. "Show me," he ordered. The main screen came alive. A figure appeared through the static on the image. Details were hard to see through the interference, but the voice rang out clear. It carried the weight of long ages, hollow and deep, like wind howling through empty caverns. "Fleet Admiral Crics of the Zepherian Empire," the voice began. "I'm Elder Varan of the Vorak Coalition. I bring you a message of warning." Cricks's officers glanced at each other. The bridge went quiet except for the low hum of the ship's systems. "We know you plan to attack the humans," the Elder continued. "Stop this action. The humans are not like other species you have conquered. They are dangerous in ways you cannot fathom." The Admiral's jaw clicked in frustration. "Explain yourself, Elder. Our data shows the humans are weak. They have few ships and even fewer settlements." "Information about numbers does not show the full picture," Varan replied. "We have watched many species across the galaxy. Most battle for land, some battle for supplies, others battle for pride or glory. But humans battle for something different. They battle for one another. Every species claims to protect their own," Crics said with dismissal. "No," the Elder's voice became more insistent. "You do not grasp this. When humans face danger, they do not think about odds or consequences. They do not run when they are outnumbered. They do not give up when they seem defeated. They change into something completely different." The signal grew worse, full of more noise. Varan's shape flickered like a candle about to go out. "Listen carefully, Admiral. If you strike the humans, they will not permit you to leave. They will not take your surrender. They will track you across every star system until they find every one of your kind. We have seen this in the old records. Another species made this error long ago. That species is gone now." Crics felt his anger grow. His species had not conquered half the galaxy by heeding the fears of old beings cowering in darkness. "The Vorak have grown soft with age," he said coldly. "You see danger where there is none. The humans will fall like all the rest." "Admiral, please." Varan's voice was fading now. "I beg you to think again. Find another target. Leave the humans be for your own sake." The message turned to noise, then disappeared. The bridge remained still for many moments. At last, Navigation Officer Zidek spoke up. "Sir, should we change course?" Crics turned from the screen, his face hard as stone. "No, we proceed as planned. The Vorak have hidden in their shadows too long. They have forgotten what real warriors do." He walked to the tactical screen showing human space. It appeared so small next to the Zepherian Empire. Just 43 colonies spread across 30 systems. Their largest fleet held perhaps 60 ships, all older models. "Look at this," he said to his officers. "The humans have been exploring space for less than a century. They use simple weapons and basic shielding. Many of their settlements have no military at all." His tactical officer, Commander Urickson, nodded eagerly. "The conquest should last just a few weeks, sir. Maybe even less." "Exactly," Crics agreed. "High Command chose this target because it would be simple, a show of strength to keep the other species afraid. The humans will show others what happens to those who challenge the Empire." He showed the battle plan on the main screen. Red arrows displayed the attack routes. The first target was a small farming colony called New Austin at the edge of human space. "We strike New Austin first," he told his staff. "It has weak defenses and roughly 50,000 colonists. We take it quickly. Then send surrender demands to all human worlds. When they see how fast we took their people, they will quit without a battle." The other officers made sounds of agreement. It was a solid plan proven in many past campaigns. "What about the Vorak warning, sir?" Communications Officer Vexry asked quietly. Cricks's eyes grew narrow. "The Vorak are remnants of a dead age. They speak of old records and old fears because they have forgotten how to live now. We are the Zepherian Empire. We have conquered worlds that were older and stronger than humanity will ever be. He gestured to the fleet display. 200 of our best warships against a handful of human patrol ships. The result is already certain. That night in his quarters, Crics read through the intelligence reports about human military power. Their ships were indeed simple by Zepherian standards. Chemical rockets instead of plasma drives. Solid weapons instead of energy cannons. Their protection was plain metal, not the advanced crystal coatings used by the Empire. But something in the reports about human society made him pause. The humans seemed to value their military history greatly. They celebrated battles where their ancestors had fought against terrible odds. They told stories of small groups holding off much larger armies. They had something called heroes who chose death instead of surrender. Still, Crics thought, every species had its myths and legends. When faced with real overwhelming force, they all picked survival over honor. He put the reports away and went to sleep, dreaming of another simple victory to add to his list. 3 days later, the Zepherian fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the New Austin system. The small human colony sat defenseless before them, just as the data had predicted. "Begin the strike," Admiral Crics ordered. He had no way of knowing that in 18 months he would be the only surviving member of his species' military leaders, desperately hiding in an empty system at the edge of the galaxy, while human hunter ships closed in from all around. The warning had been ignored. Now the teaching would start. Captain Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the alert began wailing. He nearly dropped his cup as he ran to the control room of New Austin Colony. The morning crew was already at their stations, faces white as they stared at their screens. "What do we have?" Jake asked his communications officer. Lieutenant Amy Patterson looked up from her console, her hands shaking a bit. "Sir, we have ships dropping out of hyperspace at the system edge." "Lots of them." Jake moved to the main display. Red dots appeared on the tactical screen like blood drops. 1 dot, then 5, then 20. The numbers kept rising. "How many?" he asked, still counting. "Sir?" "At least 100, maybe more." Amy's voice stayed steady even though she was afraid. "They're not answering our calls." Jake had been a soldier before becoming a colony administrator. He had served in 3 different wars before retiring to New Austin. He knew what a fleet that size meant. "Sound the alarm for immediate readiness," he ordered. "Get all people to the shelters. Send an urgent signal to Earth Command. Tell them we are being attacked." The colony had 50,000 people spread across a dozen settlements. They had never thought they would need the underground bunkers that had been built into every town. Jake had thought they were a waste of resources. Now he was grateful they existed. Amy moved fast at her station. "Message sent, sir. But it will take 3 days for the closest human fleet to arrive." "Then we hold for 3 days," Jake said simply. The alien ships moved through the system like a dark wave. Jake watched them get closer on the sensors. These were not ships for exploration or trade. These were warships designed for one purpose only. All civilian ships begin moving to the bunkers. He broadcast this across the colony network. "This is real. All military people report to defense positions." New Austin was not a military world. But like all human colonies, it had basic defenses, platforms in orbit with missile launchers, ground-based laser guns, a small patrol fleet of 6 ships. Jake knew it would not work, but he also knew they would fight anyway. The strike began 2 hours later. The alien ships opened fire from a distance, their weapons lighting up space like deadly fireworks. The orbit platforms fired back, their missiles racing toward the enemy fleet. Most of the missiles were destroyed, but some got through. Jake watched 2 alien ships blow up on his screen. It was not much, but it was something. "Sir, they're launching fighters," Amy reported. "Hundreds of them." The alien fighter ships swarmed toward the colony like angry wasps. Jake's 6 patrol ships moved to stop them. The battle was quick and brutal. 3 of the patrol ships were destroyed in the first few minutes. But something unexpected occurred. Instead of leaving, the remaining human ships kept fighting. They used tricks that seemed to confuse the aliens. They hid behind asteroids and attacked by surprise. They crashed damaged alien fighters rather than flying away. "Why aren't they running?" one of Jake's officers asked. "They're outnumbered 20 to 1. "Because they're human," Jake said quietly. "We don't flee when our people are threatened." The ground strike began at noon. Alien landing ships came down near every settlement. Jake could hear the blasts through the thick walls of the command center. The laser guns fired constantly, their beams cutting through the sky. Reports came in from across the colony. The aliens were good fighters, but they seemed shocked by the human response. Instead of becoming panicked, the colonists fought back with all they had. Farmers used their heavy machines as weapons, ramming alien vehicles with their equipment. Kids too young to fight carried supplies to the grown-up defenders. Elderly people who could hardly walk served as guides and coordinators. "Sir, Settlement 7 is sending good news," Amy said with shock in her voice. "They've pushed back the alien forces." "How?" Jake asked. The entire town worked as one. Even the young kids were helping. They used explosives from the mining site. Reports came from other settlements that were the same. The aliens were winning, but they were paying a much higher cost than expected. Every building had to be taken by force. Every road was defended to the end. By evening, Jake knew the colony would be lost. The aliens had too many ships and too many soldiers, but the humans had made them suffer for every foot of ground. The command center shook as alien. Soldiers broke through the outer walls. Jake looked around at his remaining team. 12 people who could have quit hours ago. "It's been an honor," he told them. The blast doors burst open. Alien soldiers came through, their weapons ready. Jake reached for his weapon, but a blast knocked him down before he could. When he woke up, he was in an alien holding area with some other prisoners. Dr. Lisa Hayes sat in the corner, her medical clothes torn and stained. Sergeant Carl Brooks leaned against the wall, his arm wrapped up. "How long was I out?" Jake asked. 6 hours, Lisa replied. "They've taken about 50 of us for questions." The cell door opened. 2 alien guards came in, followed by a third who seemed to be a leader. The leader looked at the humans with clear curiosity. "I am Commander Erickson," he said in accented but understandable English. "You fought well for such simple beings. But why did you not give up when you knew you would lose?" Dr. Hayes stood up slowly. "Because you attacked our home. You hurt our people. All species defend their land," the commander replied. "But you fought past the point of reason. Your deaths were enormous." "You don't understand," Lisa said. "This isn't just about land. These are our families, our friends, our neighbors. When you attack humans, you're not just fighting soldiers. You're fighting everyone who loves the people you're trying to hurt." The alien commander's face showed confusion, but the situation was hopeless. Continued. Fighting was pointless. Sergeant Brooks laughed, a sound with no joy in it. "You think this was the fight? This was just the beginning. Wait until the real fleet gets here. Your closest military forces are many days away." The commander said, "We will be gone before they come." "You don't understand," Brooks continued. "Every human in the galaxy just became your enemy. We do not forget, we do not forgive, and we sure as hell do not let people hurt our own and just leave." The commander left without speaking, but Jake could see worry in his alien face. 3 hours later, Amy Patterson was brought to the cell. She had kept the communication equipment working until the very end. "Did the message reach them?" Jake asked her. Amy smiled through her bruises. "Every human fleet in the galaxy heard us, sir. Admiral Cole is already moving the 3rd Fleet this way. Captain Davis has the Deep Space Squadron tracking the alien ships." "And sir, what?" "The message included all of it. Full information about their ships and weapons, complete videos of the battle. Every human commander now knows exactly what these aliens can do." Dr. Hayes nodded slowly. "They wanted to make an example of us. Instead, they just taught every human in space how to fight them." Outside their cell, alert sirens began to sound throughout the alien ship. Emergency announcements echoed through the passages in the alien language. "What's happening?" Jake asked the guards when they came to check on the prisoners. One of the guards looked nervous. "Human ships have been spotted at the system edge." "Many human ships." Jake smiled for the first time since the strike began. "That was fast. He told you we don't leave our own." The guard's expression grew more nervous, but our data said your closest fleet was 3 days away. "Yeah, well," Jake said, "your data was wrong about a lot of things. Wait until you see what else we can do when we're really angry." The ship shook as weapons began firing outside. The real battle was just starting. Admiral Susan Cole stood on the bridge of the UEE's Defiance, watching the burning remains of New Austin Colony through the main screen. The alien fleet had left 6 hours ago, but the damage stayed. Smoke still went up from the settlements below. "Ma'am, we're getting messages from the surface," her communications officer reported. "People in the underground bunkers are still alive." "Thank God," Susan whispered. She had expected to find only dead bodies. Get rescue teams down there right away. Commander Ryan Walsh came over from the tactical station. His face was grim as he handed her a data pad. Admiral, you need to see this. The colonists managed to record all of it before their communications went down. Susan read through the report. 50,000 colonists attacked by a fleet of 200 ships. The humans had destroyed 12 alien ships and damaged many more before being overwhelmed. The death reports made her feel sick. They fought like monsters, Ryan said quietly. Old people, kids, farmers, everyone fought. And now they expect us to just accept this, Susan replied, her voice cold as space. They think they can kill our people and sail away like nothing happened. She turned to talk to the bridge crew. Send a message to all ships. We're not here for rescue anymore. We're here for justice. The human response fleet was not anything the galaxy had ever seen before. Admiral Cole had 47 ships under her command, but they weren't arranged in the normal way. Instead, they spread out across the system in small groups. Sir, the alien fleet is moving toward the hyperspace jump point, the sensor operator announced. They're trying to leave the system. Let them go, Susan ordered, shocking her crew. Commander Walsh stepped closer. Admiral, we're not fighting a regular battle, Ryan. This is something new now. Those aliens think they can hit us and leave. They're about to learn they're wrong. She turned on the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Cole. The enemy believes they have won a victory here. They believe they can return to their space and keep living as if nothing occurred. We're going to show them otherwise. The human ships moved with a sense of purpose that seemed confusing to outside observers. Half the fleet followed the alien ships at a distance. The other half spread out to different star systems looking random. What the aliens did not understand was that humans had been getting ready for this kind of battle for decades without knowing it. Every human ship had sensors that could see far. Every human colony had communication systems. Every human civilian had basic war training. Within 24 hours, the galaxy's communication networks carried a message that made every species that heard it feel cold. It was sent on all channels in every known language. These are our dead. Admiral Cole's voice rang out across space. Pictures appeared with the words faces of the colonists who had fallen at New Austin. Children, parents, old people. Each picture showed a name and a short description. Maria Santos, age 7, loved to draw pictures of spaceships. John Carter, age 63, retired teacher who helped at the colony school. Amy Chen, age 35, doctor who delivered 42 babies on New Austin. The list went on for hours. Every single person who had fallen was named and remembered. The message ended with a simple statement. We will have justice for each one. Fleet Admiral Crics got the message while on his command ship as they traveled through hyperspace. His officers gathered around the communication screen, listening to the human voices, reading name after name. It's a trick to make us feel bad, his tactical officer suggested. They're trying to make us feel shame. But Crics wasn't sure. There was something in the human admiral's voice that he had never heard before. Not anger, which he understood, not hatred, which he had seen in other defeated species. This was something harder, more lasting. Sir, we're getting reports from our border worlds, his communications officer announced. Human ships have been spotted in 7 different systems. Are they attack fleets? Crickle asked. No, sir. Small groups. 3 ships here, 5 ships there. They're not hitting our worlds. They're just watching. The first real strike came 3 days later. A Zepherian supply ship carrying food and medical items was found by human ships near the Kepler Nebula. But instead of destroying the ship, the humans did something unusual. They went onto each ship and asked to see the crew list. Any Zepherian who had fought in the New Austin strike was taken prisoner. The rest were allowed to leave, but not before their ships were marked with a special beacon. What are they doing? Commander Erickson asked as he looked through the reports. They're hunting us, Crickle realized with growing fear. Not our empire, not our military. Us, the specific people who were at New Austin. More reports came over the next days. Human ships appeared wherever Zepherian ships went. They didn't fight in big battles. Instead, they struck like hunters, hitting single ships and vanishing before support could come. Commander Ryan Walsh led a squad of changed civilian ships that had become stealth. Trackers. Old cargo ships now held military sensors and weapons. Old passenger ships had been changed with long-lasting life support for far journeys. Target locked, he reported to Admiral Cole. Zepherian cruiser going alone through the Vega system. Remember the rules, Cole replied. We want prisoners who can tell us where the rest of their fleet is. The Zepherian cruiser never saw the strike coming. Ryan's ships came out from the asteroid field like ghosts, their weapons ready. The alien ship tried to escape but was quickly surrounded. Captain Pete Adams led the team that went onto the ship. He had been a diplomat before the war, skilled in languages and alien thought. Now he used those skills for a different purpose. We know you were at New Austin, he told the caught Zepherian captain. We have sensor records of your ship in the battle. Your choice is simple. Tell us where Fleet Admiral Crics is hiding, and you'll follow the Galactic prisoner rules. Do not, and we'll drop you on the nearest dead moon. The Zepherian captain looked confused. But we are at war. There are rules for how prisoners should be treated. Pete's face stayed cold. Those rules apply to real wars between military groups. What you did at New Austin was not war. It was slaughter. You killed civilians, children, old people who had never held a weapon. We offered them surrender, the captain protested. After you started shooting, Pete replied. The time to stop fighting was before you attacked innocent people. Now you must face what you've done. The psychological break began to show results within weeks. Zepherian teams started leaving their ships at friendly places. Others fought against their officers, asking why they were being tracked across the galaxy for following orders. Fleet Admiral Crics tried desperately to keep control of his scattered fleet. But each day brought new reports of human strikes. His ships could not travel in groups without being found. They could not travel alone without being caught. Sir, we're getting communication requests from several alien governments, his communications officer reported. They want to discuss giving us up. What? Crics could not believe it. The humans have convinced them that helping us is too dangerous. They're afraid of being hit if they support us. The galactic community was indeed taking sides, but not the sides Crics had expected. Species that had been scared of the Zepherian Empire for many years were now scared of something different. They were afraid of what the humans might do to anyone who helped their enemies. The Vorak coalition sent another message. This one was sent openly across all networks. We warned you. Elder Varan's ancient voice rang through space. We told you the humans were different. Now you see the reality. They do not fight like other species. They do not make war like other species. They have turned their entire society into a weapon pointed at your heart. Admiral Cole got regular reports from her scattered fleet. Human ships were now working in over 30 star systems, tracking down individual Zepherian ships and their teams. Admiral Commander Walsh reported during their daily briefing. We found 60% of their original fleet. Most are caught or destroyed, and the other 40% are running, hiding. Some have tried to give up to neutral worlds, but no one will take them. The whole galaxy knows what happens to anyone who helps them. Susan looked at the star charts showing the places of known Zepherian ships, red dots scattered across hundreds of light years, each one representing enemies who thought they could kill humans and escape without facing anything. Time to close in, she said. Send orders to all hunting groups. No more delays. No more mercy. Find every last one of them. The hunt was entering its last stage, and the Zepherians were beginning to grasp what the Vorak Elder had tried to tell them. When you make an enemy of humanity, there is nowhere in the galaxy you can hide. 6 months had gone by since the strike on New Austin, and the galaxy had shifted. What people now called the human hunt had become the most talked about event in known space. Trade paths shifted to stay away from areas where human hunter ships worked. Entire star systems went quiet when human ships were spotted near them. Captain Rachel Davis stood on the bridge of her changed cargo ship, the Deep Tracker, reviewing sensor readings from the edge of the Horsehead Nebula. Her ship had once carried grain and products between human colonies. Now it held advanced sensors and enough weapons to fight a cruiser. Got something, Captain? Her sensor operator called out. Lieutenant Mike Torres had been a regular electronics worker before the war. Now he could track a ship's hyperspace trail across 3 star systems. What do you have? Rachel asked. Faint energy signature about 2 days old. Matches the pattern from that Zepherian destroyer we've been tracking. Rachel smiled with grim intent. The destroyer Kethmore had been one of the ships that struck New Austin. Its captain had personally led troops against the colony school. Now he was hiding, moving from system to system, trying to find somewhere the humans could not reach. Plot the path, she ordered. Send the information to Admiral Cole. Mark it as another confirmed location. The human fleet had shifted dramatically over the past months. What began as a rescue mission had become something never seen before in galactic history. Every human ship in space, military or regular, had become part of the hunt. Cargo ships held sensors that reach far. Old passenger ships had been changed into mobile command posts. Even small private ships joined hunting groups serving as observers and communication links. But the most dramatic shift was on the human worlds themselves. Every colony had turned into a military place. Children learned to read sensor displays alongside their regular classes. Grown-ups worked in weapons factories by day and trained for battle at night. Admiral Susan Cole had set up her command center on the human colony of Kepler Prime. The planet's entire production now focused on building ships and weapons. The civilian government had freely turned over control to the military. "Admiral, we have the daily reports," Commander Ryan Walsh announced as he came into her office. Susan looked up from the light display showing ship places across human space. Red dots marked confirmed Zepherian places. Yellow dots showed possible sightings. Green dots were human hunting groups. "How many today?" she asked. 7 more confirmed catches. The group led by Captain Davis found that destroyer we've been tracking. Captain Wilson's squad blocked 3 fighters near the Century system. Prisoners, most of them. Most of them are too scared to fight anymore. They give up as soon as they see our ships. Susan nodded. The trick of making them feel bad was working better than she had hoped. Word had spread through the Zepherian fleet that humans didn't kill prisoners who cooperated, but those who fought or tried to escape faced a different fate. "What about Fleet Admiral Crics?" she asked. "Still no confirmed location. Our data suggests he's hiding somewhere in the outer rim, but he's moving all the time." Susan studied the tactical display. Of the original 200 Zepherian ships, only 37 stayed hidden. Most of those were hurt and running on minimal power to stay undetected. Admiral Ryan continued. "We're getting reports that some Zepherian teams are trying to hide among refugee groups on neutral worlds, and the planetary governments are giving them to us. No one wants to take the chance of helping them." This was maybe the most striking thing about the entire battle. The human hunt had made most of the galaxy believe that helping the Zepherians was too dangerous. Even species that had typically stayed out of galactic fights were freely working with human forces. The Altarian Republic had opened their space to human patrol ships. The Centauran Trade Federation was giving data on Zepherian movement. Even the isolated Vegan Empire had quietly given sensor data. Meanwhile, thousands of light years away, Fleet Admiral Crics sat in his dark ready room on his damaged command ship. The ship had been running on backup power for 3 weeks, hiding in an empty system near the galactic rim. His once strong fleet was spread all over. Most of his captains were dead or caught. The few ships that stayed were too hurt to battle and too weak to run much further. "Sir," his communications officer came in quietly. "We are getting a message from Commander Zachriel." Crics looked up tiredly. Zachriel commanded one of the last surviving destroyer groups, 8 ships that had been hiding in the Void Nebula. "Put him through." The light image of his subordinate appeared, broken by interference. Zachriel's normally strong bearing was gone, changed by the posture of a defeated warrior. "Admiral, we can't stay hidden much longer. Our supplies are running very low. Half my ships can barely maintain life support. Have you found any safe harbor?" Crics asked, though he already knew the reply. "No, sir. Every world we approach turns us away. The humans have made the entire galaxy believe that helping us is deadly." Crics closed his eyes. How had it turned into this? 6 months ago, he commanded the most feared fleet in Zepherian history. Now he was reduced to asking for scraps of fuel from alien traders who spat at the mention of his name. "Sir," Zachriel continued, "some of my team are speaking of giving up. They think the humans would be nice if we stop fighting." "The humans don't show mercy," Crics replied bitterly. "They show justice, and their justice means we all pay for what occurred at New Austin." After finishing the message, Crics went to his personal area and turned on his personal data screen. He looked through the data files on human military teaching, trying to find some weakness he might have missed. What he found instead were reports that made his blood go cold. The humans weren't just hunting his fleet. They were getting ready for something much bigger. Every human world was now a military position. Every human ship was armed for war. The entire species had changed itself into a military force focused on one goal: making sure that what occurred at New Austin never occurred again. Dr. Kevin Parker, a being psychology expert working with Admiral Cole's team, had spent months examining Zepherian conduct patterns. His reports showed a picture of a species in complete mental breakdown. "They can't grasp what we're doing," he said to the Admiral during their weekly talk. "Their entire military teaching is based on fast wins and discussed peace. They've never faced an enemy that will not take any outcome except complete win." "What about their civilians?" Susan asked. "Are they pushing their government to make peace?" "That's the interesting thing. Zepherian society is very military. Their civilians hoped their fleet would return home victorious with new slaves and resources. Instead, they're watching their most elite military units be erased. So their government is under stress to end this." "Yes, but they can't. Each time they try to talk with us, we give them the same reply. Complete giving up of everyone involved in the New Austin strike. No terms, no talking." Susan nodded. The human stance had been the same from the start. This wasn't a war that could be finished with peace deals or trades. It was a hunt that would go on until every person responsible for the massacre was caught or dead. General Ben Foster, the organizer of Earth's defense, joined the talk via light link. His weathered face showed the strain of months of steady getting ready. "Admiral, we've gotten data that suggests Crics might be getting ready for one last strike," he reported. "On what target?" "Earth itself. Our sources suggest he thinks holding our homeworld hostage might at last make us discuss it." Susan felt a cold smile cross her face. "Let him come. We've been getting ready for this chance since the hunt began." And indeed they had. Earth's defenses had been made stronger beyond anything in human history. Every ship that could be spared from the hunt had come back to human space. Weapons platforms around the planet were like a deadly wall. More importantly, the human fleet was no longer spread across the galaxy. They had been quietly gathering their forces, using the hunt as cover for the biggest military buildup in human history. Captain Rachel Davis got new orders that same day. Her hunting group was to come back to Earth right away along with dozens of others. The message was short but clear. "The prey is coming to us. Time to spring the trap." As human ships began their journey home, Fleet Admiral Crics made his choice. With only 23 ships left from his starting fleet, he would make one last desperate risk. If he could grab Earth, maybe he could at last make the humans discuss with him. If not, at least he would die as a warrior rather than a tracked creature. He had no idea that the humans had been waiting for just this choice. The trap had been set months ago. Now all they had to do was wait for him to enter it. The last battle was about to start. Fleet Admiral Crics gazed at Earth through the main screen of his hurt command ship. The blue and white planet hung in space like a precious gem, looking calm and open. His 23 remaining ships came out of hyperspace at the edge of the solar system, ready for the last risk. "Sir, we're sensing orbit platforms around the planet," his sensor officer reported with fear.
"How many? 12?
"No, 20, sir. The count keeps going up. There are hundreds of them." Crics felt his belief weaken. Data reports had said Earth's defenses were basic. Most human ships were supposed to be spread out across the galaxy, still hunting his scattered fleet. "Sir, we're getting a message from the planet," his communications officer announced. The main screen flickered and Admiral Susan Cole appeared. She sat calmly in what seemed like a command post, her expression still but her eyes cold as ice. "Fleet Admiral Crics," she said. "We've been waiting for you, Admiral Cole," Crics replied, attempting to sound strong. "I offer you terms. Give up your homeworld and I will spare your civilian population." Susan's expression did not shift. "You seem to have gotten something wrong, Admiral. You're not here to strike us. You're here to be caught." Before Crics, his sensor officer screamed out a caution. "Sir, ships coming out of stealth all around us. Hundreds of them." The space around Earth suddenly filled with human warships. They came out from behind asteroids, came out from the shadow of the moon, and dropped their stealth shields to show the biggest fleet gathering in human history. Captain Rachel Davis commanded a squad of 50 changed cargo ships, all with the newest human weapons. Commander Ryan Walsh led the heavy cruisers that had been sent back from the hunt. Every human ship that could fly in battle was here waiting. "You walked into our snare," Admiral Cole said calmly. For 6 months, we've been pushing you toward this instant. Each time we let one of your ships get away, each time we gave you a way out, we were hurting you here. Crics looked around desperately. His 23 hurt ships were surrounded by over 300 human vessels. Getting away was not possible. I demand to discuss, he said, his voice cracking. The time to discuss was before you. Struck New Austin, Susan replied. You had a choice then. You picked to kill our people. Now you live with the results. The fight lasted less than an hour. The Zepherian ships were too hurt and outnumbered to fight back well. One by one, they were shut down by precise human fire. Their teams gave up rather than face destruction. Crics' command ship was the last to break. Human teams rushed through its passages, meeting little battle from the broken team. The Admiral himself was found in his ready room, staring at a picture of his homeworld. He was brought before Admiral Cole in person, his hands tied and his outfit torn. Burns covered half his face from the battle, and his strong bearing was completely gone. Why? He asked as he stood before her. We offered surrender. We offered to pay for the loss. Why wouldn't you let us leave? Susan stood up from her chair and went to the big window overlooking Earth. The planet turned slowly below them. Blue oceans and white clouds hiding the billions of people who lived there. Do you see that world, Admiral? She asked. Yes. Every person on that planet knows the name of every human who fell at New Austin. Maria Santos, age 7. John Carter, age 63. Amy Chen, age 35. We remember all of them. She turned to look at him. You didn't just strike a colony, Admiral. You didn't just grab land or take resources. You killed our families. You made it personal, but we are soldiers, Crics protested. We were following directions. This is how battle has always been done. Not with humans, Susan replied. When you strike our people, you don't just fight our military. You fight every human in the galaxy. Every parent who is afraid their child will be hurt. Every person who sees that today it was New Austin, but tomorrow it could be their home. She stepped closer to him. That's why we never let you leave. That's why we tracked you across hundreds of star systems. That's why your empire is finished. Because you made the mistake of believing humans are like other species. Crics stared at her with confusion. What occurs to us now? You'll go to trial for crimes of war. Those who work with us will go to prison colonies. Those who don't, she shrugged. Well, justice takes different shapes. The trials went on for 3 months. Every surviving member of the Zepherian fleet was brought before human courts. Their crimes were announced aloud with the names and faces of their victims shown for all to see. Most of the Zepherians said they were guilty and took prison terms. A few tried to claim they were just following directions. These were shown that following illegal directions was also a crime under Galactic law. Fleet Admiral Crics was the last to go to trial. He stood before the judges, no longer the strong warrior who had ignored the Vorak caution months ago. He was damaged, defeated, a show of what occurred to those who thought humanity was weak. Do you have anything to say before the judgment? The chief judge asked. Crics looked up at the crowd full of human faces. I should have listened to the caution, he whispered. The scattered remnants of the Zepherian Empire quickly signed peace pacts with every human world. Their government openly apologized and decided to pay reparations for many years. They also agreed to something never done before. They would never again fight to grab territory from any species. The galaxy took notice. The Vorak Coalition changed their species data, putting new cautions about humanity. Other space beings quietly looked at their own military plans, making sure they had no goals that might endanger human civilians. Elder Varan of the Vorak sent a last message that was sent out across all known worlds. Let the fate of the Zepherians be a lesson to all. His ancient voice rang through space. Humans are a peaceful species when left alone. They trade fairly, discuss honestly, and keep their agreements. But when you put their families at risk, when you hurt their children, when you make war on their homes, they turn into something else completely. They turn implacable. They turn unrelenting. They turn into justice itself, tracking across the stars until every wrong is fixed. 1 year after the strike on New Austin, Colonel Jake Morrison stood in the rebuilt colony square. The memorial showed the names of all who had fallen, cut in black stone that would last always. Families came here each day to honor their lost loved ones. A group of young alien diplomats came to the colony as part of a cultural trade program. They had heard stories about the human response to the strike but wanted to grasp it better. Is it true that humans never give forgiveness? one of them asked Colonel Morrison. Jake looked at the memorial, reading the names he knew by heart. Maria Santos, who loved to draw spaceships. John Carter, the retired teacher. Amy Chen, who had delivered so many babies. We give forgiveness, he said at last. But we never let go, and we never let anyone hurt our people without facing judgment. Another young diplomat put up her hand. But the fight went on for almost a year. Your entire species was ready for war. Wouldn't it have been simpler to just take their giving up? Jake turned to look at the group of young aliens. His expression was calm but strong. You don't grasp it, he said. This wasn't about what was simple. It was about what was right. When someone strikes your family, you don't count the cost or think about what's easy. You do whatever it takes to make sure it never occurs again. He pointed to the memorial. Every name on that stone shows someone's child, parent, friend, or partner. They fell because Admiral Crics thought humans were weak. He thought we would count the odds and decide getting back wasn't worth the effort. He was incorrect. We don't think like that. When you hurt our people, the effort doesn't count. The length doesn't count. The distance doesn't count. We will find you, and we will make sure judgment is given. The young diplomats looked at each other. They were starting to grasp why the human response had shocked the galaxy. What if it occurs again? One asked quietly. Jake's smile held no warmth. Then whoever does it will grasp the same thing Admiral Crics grasped. Humans are peaceful. Humans are sensible. Humans like to fix things with talk rather than battle. He paused, looking up at the stars visible in the afternoon sky. But humans never ever let anyone hurt their families and just leave. The teaching had been grasped. In the years that went on, the galaxy turned into a more quiet place. Not because humans were feared, but because everyone grasped what would occur if they put those they care for at risk. The caution had been ignored once. It would not be ignored again.